Today I'm talking about this pig butchering scams, not because I'm an expert in understanding what the scammers are doing. I might be knowing not more than you do and more than the public has been knowing about what the scammers are doing, for example, in those scam hubs. But because I researched a lot in those digital deception before, I know something a little bit more, maybe than the public about, for example, how to make a Ponzi scheme and how you could actually make people believe in something too good to be true using certain technologies. And I think there are similarities there that make me want to further my research into those now very impactful pig butchering scams that are spreading from China to all over the world, including the Netherlands. And though I don't really have many first-hand materials regarding victims in the Netherlands, so this is also one of my aims of giving this talk, is really to call for more collaborations between me and then stakeholders that are interested and are involved in this topic in the Netherlands, to think about how we could help potential victims in the Netherlands, and then listening to their stories, hoping to find, as an anthropologist, I hope to find more human-centered anti-scam measures that could tackle with the roots of the issue, which I think is currently lacking in our policing frameworks, and also this campaign-style crackdowns that we are witnessing and that we'll be talking about in a few minutes. So I start with an ethnographic story about a single mom called Li, who is 37 years old working in Shanghai. So she knows a guy called Jia Wei through a dating platform, and then gradually they become closer to each other. She knows that Jia Wei is a financial manager working in Beijing. She has a good-looking profile. She likes skiing. She likes cooking. But what's more, he seems to be the only person that really cares about what she feels and what she's doing on a daily basis. So he's like the kind of Prince Charming who just dropped into her life when she feels lonely, and then she's really seeking for care and love. One day, this Jia Wei mentioned that he's very successful managing those crypto funding through their platform. And then, so he was also suggesting that why not just have a try, because we have a special promotion recently. And then, Li trusting him, and then put about 18,000 yuan into this platform. In a month that she actually get 4,000 yuan back. So this is very lucrative business, as she was thinking that this is a really good chance for her to make some money, and then for her to also deepen her relationship with Jia Wei. And over time, she also even thinks about moving to Beijing to live with Jia Wei, to start a new life and then also a new career. But at that time, they didn't even really meet each other or having any video calls, because Jia Wei claimed himself to be very busy with their work as a financial manager. But Jia Wei said, okay, you can come to Beijing, but then that means that you will drop your career. And why don't you just work with me and then invest a bit more so that you can earn more money that you don't have to work in a few months. So it kind of reduces your risk as well. And then trust also, again, because they have already built a very lasting trust at this moment, she invested 300,000 yuan, which is about 40,000 euro, into this platform. And over a month, when she wants to withdraw this funding, the customer service told her that she needs to have a security deposit because of the compliance, request. And she felt a little bit panicked because they requested 100,000 yuan as a deposit. And she turned to Jia Wei, and Jia Wei said, no, this is totally normal. I did this before. It's just kind of the checking for money launderers. And then, if you feel like it's unsafe, I can, borrow you another 50,000 so that you can just put in 50,000. So she actually just moved another 50,000. But then this time the customer service said, no, you need another 50,000 for activation cost. So at that moment, she finally realized that there's something wrong with this platform. And she Googled her experience and realized, this is what people will call pig butchering scam. So the name of this scam, came from the scammer's kind of metaphorical comparison of those clients as people they will emotionally fatten before they financially slaughter them. Pigs in Chinese culture are consumed from head to tail, which also indicates that the victims are consumed totally while they're being butchered. They're kind of destroyed not just financially, but also emotionally and morally. So many people will feel they have deep shame along with their heavy debt after falling into these pig butchering scams. So it starts always with something very simple, that you meet someone who has a good-looking profile on social media, and then gradually they build some connections with you. But it doesn't really need to be from social media in that kind of sense. So you can start as easy as someone who approaches you, it seems that they have the wrong number, and then since then you can just start conversation with this guy and then build connections. And then gradually your relationships gets closer, and then as in the case of Lee as well, this guy mentioned that there's kind of making good investment in some cryptocurrencies. And then they will direct this client to this fake crypto platform, but they don't know it's fake because everything is very well designed to simulate the real market. It doesn't feel like it's a totally fake platform or something. And then actually it's run by a team. It's a professional team that has front office, back office, working on different part of the scam. So there's somebody who, the person who approaches you is from this less experienced kind of phase of scam. But then there are also, when your relationship gets deepened, you got a lot of more experienced keyboarders serving you. So it's like a whole service industry that runs to kind of serve people's interests and manipulate people's psychology. And they also have this kind of process, they design a lot of playbooks, a lot of scripts to help their labor force to quickly understand how they can win people's trust. And they are run from the scam parks, which are, as we all know now, most of them are run along the border of Myanmar and Thailand. But before that, there is a longer history of this scam house being actually based in all over the world, in places where regulation is not in place. And then these are what the investigative reports have been showing us what's inside of one of those scam parks. So actually before 2017, the scammers have already been operating this kind of scams, both within China, but after the China has cracked them down, they have been fleeing from China to a lot of other countries, including what we will focus on, like the Southeast Asian countries like Cambodia. And then it happens with the whole Belt and Road initiative that China has been investing a lot of this kind of developmental projects in Cambodia. So one important site is the Sihanoukville, where they have this industrial park that the Cambodia government has issued to many Chinese companies to start the online gambling kind of business there. And those online gambling business is also causing a lot of troubles for Chinese government, because a lot of people fall prey to some of the online gambling casinos. And then the Chinese government asked the Cambodian government to crack them down in 2019. As a result, many of these people, they run to Myanmar, Dubai, and Philippines to start pig butchering hubs because they realized actually pig butchering is a much more lucrative business than online gambling. And during the pandemics, they faced another issue because of the border controls. They cannot get a lot of voluntary labor to join them for example, in Myanmar. And then they come up with this human trafficking idea to supply the labor force by, coming up with like fake job advertisements that, promise people that if you come here, I can give you a much higher salary. So people, not just from China, but from all over the world may be attracted to work in Thailand, but then they were kind of being trafficked through this Myanmar and Thailand borders and then work as forced laborers for these scam parks. And as a result, because now they have more diverse, supply labor force, they can now come up with new strategies and even new linguistic cultural capabilities to scam people all over the world. And then they start to, tackle with digital humans globally. And also, we are seeing a lot of these campaign-style crackdowns led by Chinese government in collaboration with Southeast Asian governments. So this starts from many years ago. The recent one that we're seeing is just a few months ago, but then that's already, just a small part of this series of crackdowns. So let's see a document, not kind of a news report of the recent crackdowns and saving of these human trafficked laborers there.
Are you ready for a tasty adventure? Join our world of flavor. We are amazing, and we're not Joe every.
Thousands of forced labourers who've been released from scam centres along the Thai-Myanmar border are stranded in makeshift camps in Myanmar. Some report low food supplies and poor sanitation. Our correspondent Jonathan Head is in Thailand.
The buildings you can see behind me, those white buildings there, that's one of, we think, around maybe up to 30 scam compounds that have been constructed along this border, right along it for a long distance over the last few years, built by Chinese gambling syndicates. In them, they have been carrying out elaborate fraud where they persuade people all over the world to part with their savings, and they use labour, basically people who've been lured here, again from all over the world. They need all kinds of languages to do it. And those people, in many cases, have been tricked and then forced, using torture and beatings, to keep going. It's a notorious business. It's deeply involved in other areas of transnational crime. And in the last couple of weeks, the Thai authorities, the Thai government here has decided it's had enough. It's cut power, it's cut telecoms, and that has forced the militias who control that part of Myanmar, and they were in on the scams and helping them. They've now decided, because they're being hurt so badly by their severing of ties with Thailand, to start releasing the workers. So around 8,000 have been freed from these scam centres. The one behind me, it's called Wanya. We believe that most of the workers have been taken out of that. But the problem is their only way out is through Thailand. Thailand has to process them. That's a very slow process. And in the meantime, these people are stuck in makeshift camps over the border in deteriorating conditions. The frenzy of construction has now stopped. The rows of featureless buildings which have sprung up along the Mui River are now being emptied of their workers. Many have been trafficked and horribly mistreated. When asked, nearly all want to go home. Last month, Thailand cut fuel and power to the scam compounds, forcing their militia allies to start freeing the workers. This group was pushed over the narrow river on a raft and taken in by the Thai army. Hundreds of Chinese workers have already been flown home, though they were clearly being treated as criminals, not victims. But the flow of evacuees to Thailand has now stopped. I spoke to Mike, an Ethiopian stranded in Myanmar, with 400 others who've escaped.
The conditions we are in is very hard. We are sleeping on the floor. The toilets are very messed up by now. I just want to go home. I just want to go back to my country. That is all I'm asking.
For years, Thailand has been accused of doing too little to stop compounds like the one behind me from running their fraud and human trafficking scams. Well, now Thailand has started to act, forcing the armed militias over the border to free thousands of trapped workers. And yet it seems no one has thought through how to move so many people from so many countries back here to safety and back to their own homes. For the moment, Thailand is reluctant to bring over more if their own governments aren't ready to fly them home.
Unfortunately, we are hearing distressing information about lack of sanitations and toilets. Many of them were actually screened for TB and were positive for TB. We're hearing from them that they're coughing up blood. Our worry is that we're not engaging fast enough, and these people are actually basically suffering while they're waiting.
And you see, there is many army also in this area. So if they will find me,
it's very dangerous. We met Aryan, a young Bangladeshi man who escaped from a notorious compound last October. He's come back to try to free 17 friends who are still there. He describes a brutal regime with frequent electric shock torture.
Their rule is very hard. They have the target every week, $5,000. If no, give 2 electric shock, bamboo. That's
2 electric shocks?
Yeah. Every week, we need to earn for them $5,000.
How many people did you scam?
It's like
in the 3 months you were there?
Many people. I don't count, but
like 20, 50?
Or more than
100?
Yeah, 100.
Even now, there are thousands still working under duress in these compounds, stretching right along this border. The civil war in Myanmar has ignited an epidemic of transnational crime, which is proving difficult to control.
So it's also very interesting. The recent crackdown was actually stimulated by popular media discussion, because this guy on the right side called Wang Xing is an actor from China. So he thought that he was invited to shoot a movie in Thailand, but then when he got there, he was being trafficked into this Myanmar-Thai border to work as a forced labor there. And then his girlfriend was alerting people that Wang Xing went missing in the social media, and people are kind of, before that nobody knows who Wang Xing is, but then now everybody knows. And then it gets this kind of heated media discussion, and then the police is intervening. And then a lot of people are saying that we're not going to Thailand anymore because it's so dangerous, because the Thai government doesn't protect the tourists. And then the Thai government wants to actually, rebuild their reputation as a tourist attraction for Chinese people. They started working again to save these people, as we see here. And even before that, in 2023, there's a very well shot movie about what happens in those kind of scam parks. So actually, a lot of Chinese people already know that this kind of scams exist and then how they work, but then it really didn't stop their global influence, because a lot of people outside of China are still not aware that this thing existed. So, the history of the scams started from about 2017 when the scammers initially targeted at Chinese people on dating apps, and then the people are saying that they interestingly started with those homosexual dating apps. And then after 2020, the border control and human trafficking thing has forced them to also go global. And then they started approaching overseas Chinese based in, for example, the US. So at the time when I was in the US, I was receiving this message asking about a kind of psychotherapist. And I was thinking that maybe these people really got a wrong number, because I used to work as a psychotherapist before, and I was really referring these people to seek for other people, for help. But then my girlfriend was saying that, you're really talking to a big butcher. And I was like, what is a pig butcher? And I just, searched for that on social media and realized actually it's already been very heatedly discussed in social media about this type of messages that trying to get you, scammed. So if you have ever received any like strange person approaching you on social media that you didn't really know them, it's very likely that there's some person who sit in those scam hubs are there. So even though they're not talking to you, it just means they're busy with other clients, and it's you're not there yet. So it's like initially they're using the kind of online lottery or online gambling system to try to scam your money, because they're from this online scamming industry, lottery industry before. So it was easy for them to use their existing infrastructure. But now, because since 2021, the bull market of crypto has made this crypto investment really popular all over the world. So people are, using this kind of new setup of, portraying this person who is very financial savvy and then investing in cryptocurrency and then teach you how to do that. So this is all going to this new development of financial technologies that have made their scams more sophisticated. My earlier studies of digital Ponzi schemes have also covered a bit of that. Though I'm not studying exactly crypto Ponzi schemes, but then there are a lot of designs and then this kind of mechanisms of how you make your money work for you digitally is there. So I believe there's something also indicating that we need to do about the fintech governance in that kind of sense. And more recently, they are using a lot of AIs to do deep fakes and then to also train their scripts to make them more culturally appealing to people. So it's really making this harder to detect. So this is one of those online casinos that they used to be working on. It looks like less trustworthy in that kind of sense. But then now they have this kind of very formalized cryptocurrency trading ecosystem that just directly looks like those more like regulated ones. So it's very kind of helping people to trust these scammers even more. And their impacts can be really systematic in the sense that in 2023 alone, Americans reported losing $4.6 billion to those kind of investment schemes. And then also the Economist podcast has also shown this story, but then the FBI is already being warning people about this happening, that there's a CEO of a Kansas regional bank in the US have been fallen prey to one of those pig butchering scams. And then he fell in love with this woman and then really was thinking that he was doing good to the bank by pouring all the bank savings into one of the cryptocurrency platform, trying to think that he is actually winning money for their stakeholders. But in the end, he only got to realize this is a scam after he kind of made an appointment with this woman at a kind of cafe, and then this woman didn't show up. So it's really showing how the whole impact of things is not isolated. It's very systematic in a sense. And so also like recently in France that we heard a story about an AI deepfaked Brad Pitt has scammed a French woman who is an interior designer to pay more than 800,000 euro for his kidney treatment. And then Meta was saying that there are more than 2 million accounts on its platforms that are actually these pig butchers. In the Netherlands, I think it's like a lot of the Dutch public that I talk to don't really know about pig butchering scams. Like the students and my colleagues, they know nothing about them. But actually, in the statistics, we already seen people falling prey into them from 2023, and then now the number is just rising and rising. And part of the reason that we don't really know too much about this, also because a lot of people feel shameful about talking about this experience because they are kind of also treated as these foolish troublemakers, and then this kind of stopped this being known by the public in a way. And then this kind of chain analysis is an organization that kind of does accounting of this blockchain movement of cryptos. And then they are searching for what kind of this pig butchering money goes. And then they kind of do accounting of them on a year-to-year basis and then see that it's actually increasing very fast. So what I want to raise the awareness here is that what we're tackling with is not just another version of scam. It's more like a psychological weapon that are being developed into its more sophisticated version. The inter-police organization that are doing a lot of policing collaborations to tackle with are calling for people to drop the name of pig butchering because they think that it kind of make people feel more shameful. But they kind of offer the different name they call it Roman spades. But I feel like this version of the name also kind of narrows down the actual experience of the victims because what they experience are more than Romans. So many of them, they really just build this deep trust with the people, and not necessarily romantic, but more like this needing for care, for recognition, and in the end, they really feel like they are smart investors, and then they are building a very great future with their money. So there are a lot of mediations of this complicated trust-confident relationship that is being there, which makes these psychological weapons really powerful because they work on the very human capacity to trust. And an essential part of this capacity to trust is the self-deceptions that can travel across cultures and can be digitally mediated. Because now we have those financial technologies and AIs that are making people feel that they can control their money. And also they see things that are seemingly very real, but actually generated by those artificial intelligence. So in the end, I want to call for more sustainable thinkings regarding anti-scam measures. So right now we are seeing a lot of, especially in China, we're seeing a lot of surveillance-based policing. So the government is asking people to install what they call the anti-scam centers, apps, which will help monitor their call logs. So every time you get a call from a suspicious number that is based outside of China, the scam center will be alerted. And then they will call you immediately that you might be scammed. And then there are even police who work with banks to trying to monitor people's kind of attempts to transfer money to a potential scamming account. And then they will really go to people's homes and tell people not to transfer their money. It has their kind of limitations because it kind of goes into people's privacies. And actually a lot of people don't trust police because they're already being brainwashed by the scammers, and then they rather trust the scammers than their even family members and the police. And also we see the scam hack crackdowns, they happen from 2017, but the result that we're seeing is that there are just more hubs coming up. And then people, if they are cracked down in one hub, they will just move to another hub. And it's just, it's never really ending the whole industry because it is so networked. And then they're using crypto to move their money, which makes them really hard to trace. And also I felt there's just a major gap that's when we are thinking about those scams and even we're doing this news reporting, we focus a little bit too much on the money lost. So every time we stress this is very important, it's because people lost a lot of money. But then the thing is that before people are making their financial investment, they're making a lot of their moral investment. So a lot of people like the CEO of the bank that we're talking about, he was scammed not because he's foolish. He's got highly educated. He becomes the CEO of a professional organization, and he believes that he has the skill. He has the mentality. He has the kind of this digital capability to know enough about what he's doing. But this is exactly this kind of mentality, this kind of pride is making people more easily fall prey to one of those scams. So really needs to understand is what is happening on the human side of the scam and what is actually making those psychological weapons that powerful. And I also, as an anthropologist and a technology scholars, I want to raise people's awareness about the scams as very complex social technical phenomena rather than just isolated criminal cases, to really think about what technology is doing to us. It's not just every technology because it's progressive, it's making our lives convenient, it means that it's not deceptive. But to the opposite, it's like our senses of this convenience and then this powerfulness are all kind of associated with this self-deceptive capabilities that these technologies are bringing us. So we are kind of giving more control over to these technologies. And finally, I'm calling for a collaborative ethnography. This is the project I'm designing that I really hope that we can bring interdisciplinary knowledge and then multi-stakeholder perspectives. We're understanding how we can improve digital governance to really help us understand, digital humans and come up with more sustainable anti-scam measures that can tackle with the roots of the problem. Okay, I'll stop here. Thank you for listening.